Welcome, coach. It is 12-ish. Right when you think you got everything together, right? You get technical difficulties, but we're here. Couple minutes late. But my name is Trevor. I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst, and this is Build with the CEO. This is our weekly show where we help you build your coaching business from the inside out. Now, this whole month, and well, technically it's May now, but the whole month of April, we've been talking about front-end offers, which I like to call bridge offers. And this is the final episode on that because how many times have you run a front-end offer? And I'm throwing myself in here with this one. How many times have you run a front-end offer and you sold a bunch of people into the front-end offer, but no one moved into the main offer? It is way too common. I've run into the same mistake myself, and we're going to diagnose that today. We're going to dig into it and give you the playbook on how to make sure that we're converting people from our bridge offer. I don't like to call it a front-end offer, but our bridge offer into our main offer. And so by the end of today, you're going to know exactly how to make the ask, because that's really important. The language to use to make the ask, and finally, the system that you're going to put it all together to make sure this happens time and time again. Because front-end offers and bridge offers are an incredible way to move people into your main program, right? You want to be finding people that don't really know who you are. They know that you can solve a problem, but they don't necessarily trust you yet. That's where the bridge offer comes into play, is people can come into that, right? You can provide value. That might be 14 days, 21 days, 28 days, depending on what you've got going on. And then we move them into the main program so that you can ultimately solve their problem. Now, you might be checking out the hat here a little bit. I know I'm a little late to the game. I was at the Real Coaches Summit last week. Great event, by the way. And so if you're in the if you're going to be in Vegas next year, or you want to go to Vegas next year, definitely look up the Real Coaches Summit. Incredible education for coaches. We'll be there speaking next year. So super excited about that. If you have any questions about that, just hit me up. But I'm late to the game, got the coach hat now, so I feel official. But let's dig into it, because the front end offer is not the destination. And that's the mistake I made early on in my career, is the front end offer was the destination. And I see coaches making this mistake over and over again. They sell the challenge, right? The 6-week challenge. And that ultimately becomes their main offer. And they're not converting people into the thing that actually pays the bills. So we don't want to be in the business of selling challenges or bridge offers. We want to be in the business of solving problems, which is our main program. And the bridge offer moves the client from, I don't really know if Trevor can help me, to let's do this, and I know you can help me solve my problem, right? That's what the bridge offer is all about. And we're going to talk about all about how to do that today. But first, we need to talk about why most front-end conversions fail, okay? And one of the main reasons they fail is it is not closely related to their main offer. Okay, let me explain that a little bit more. Let's say I run a 14-day detox, right? That is my bridge offer. But then my main program is helping dudes put on slabs of muscle, right? The person that's coming into a detox is probably not the person that is wanting to put on slabs of muscle. And I see coaches make this mistake a lot, because we have a lot of stuff at Coach Catalyst. We have over 30 different programs that coaches can use to help their clients. And we come up with new stuff all the time. And whenever we come up with something new, a lot of coaches jump on it, which is great, but maybe they shouldn't be jumping on it, because maybe this doesn't actually align with their their perfect client, or the problem that they're looking to solve. Just because it's new and shiny doesn't make it right. Okay. Right for your business. And so our goal at Coach Catalyst is to come up with a plethora of things, a wide range of things, but we need the coach to be discerning to figure out, all right, does this help my client achieve better results? Could I use this as a bridge offer that would naturally move the client into my main offer? And I've talked about this in previous episodes with our bridge offers, is the bridge should really be like phase one, right? Because when there's phase one, it's just implied that there's phase two. Right. And so I'm moving through, just like a curriculum system, just like in like the university system, we have 101 and 102 and 200 and 300, right? It's a natural progression to becoming proficient at something, right? Nutrition is a skill, right? Fitness is a skill. And so that skill takes practice, and it takes learning, and it takes things you need to learn at the beginning and then things you learn as you become more advanced, right? So having this phase structure. So mistake number one that I see most coaches make is their bridge offer, their front end offer is just too far disconnected from their main offer. And it's too big of a gap. It's hard to get clients to make the connection between the two things, right? And so we just end up selling, a low ticket or a lower priced product, right? Which isn't what we want to do, right? We want that bridge to move them into the main program. Okay. The second reason is coaches don't ask, right? We don't ask to move them through. We just assume that the client is going to have such a great experience that they're going to ask us what's next, right? And so not asking is a huge mistake. And that's a simple one. We just make the ask. And today I'm going to kind of teach you when to make the ask and how to make the ask, right? But we're just not making the ask. We're just assuming that they're going to want to continue. Okay. And then mistake number 3 is we're just vague in that ask, right? Like, want to keep going. Hey, you've been doing great so far. You want to keep going, right? It's too vague. The client doesn't really understand on like why I should keep going. And so it's not a great transition, right? It's too vague. And maybe there's some insecurity as a coach, right? Maybe I'm new and I don't necessarily believe in the process yet, right? There's a lot of things that could be underlying it. But if that's what our ask is right now, like, awesome that you're making the ask, which is good. But now we just need to improve that so that the client can understand what's next and it becomes like a no-brainer for them, right? So 3 mistakes. Maybe you're dealing with one of these. Number 1, disconnection, right? Bridge offer, main offer, too far disconnected, right? Number 2, we're not making an ask. We're just assuming the client's going to continue and then no one does, right? And number 3 is where the ask is just really vague, right? We're just asking them if they want to continue. And we're not kind of compelling them. We're not giving them a compelling reason to continue. So, all right, if the ask doesn't happen on the last day, when does it actually happen? Right? Because this kind of fit into like the no ask at all, or like what we would call the wrong moment ask, is the client is asking, or you're asking the client on the last day 21 of the program, hey, do you want to continue? Right? We're probably too late. And so there is a kind of like peak moment where we have a higher likelihood of helping that client into the next phase. And it isn't in like the final days of the program. And I made this mistake early on where I'm asking after the program is, last day of the program or last 2 days of the program and trying to move people into the next one. It feels rushed, right? And so we can do that a little bit better. And there's some kind of high leverage opportunities to be able to do this. Now, let's talk about a few of those. First one being, let's say you're doing more of a cohort style where you're bringing a bunch of people into your bridge program because you like the group, you like the community, and you have the audience to be able to support that. Great. Awesome. We should be scheduling calls. Yes, calls with every single person in week 3 of a 4-week program or in week 2 of a 3-week program, right? The end of week 2, end of week 3, basically before the final week, to number 1, assess the client's progress so far, right? If it's a 28-day program, like they're 3 weeks in, they should be seeing some results, right? Maybe they've lost a little bit of weight. Maybe they've dropped a pant size. Maybe they are feeling more energy, sleeping better, whatever those, right? Whatever those results your clients are looking for, whatever the promise is for that particular program, we should start being able to see aspects of it, right? And so we should have a one-to-one call. And there's 2 reasons for this call. 1, to assess their progress. If they've had great success so far, we want to celebrate that. And then the second piece is setting up the plan to move forward, right? You're likely not solving the client's problem in the first 28 days, right? This is a 8-week, 12-week, 16-week transformation, right? And so in that meeting, you are going to set the roadmap for the client for the next 4 weeks, for the next 8 weeks, whatever makes sense to you. But what this does is it does what we call future pacing. meaning it's assuming the client is going to continue and we set the roadmap for them moving forward, right? This is going to increase the likelihood that they're going to want to do it with you. But even if they don't want to do it with you, they have the roadmap to move forward and do it. But let's not be afraid of giving them the information, right? Because the reason they're in your program is not for more information. People do not need more information. The reason they haven't been successful is because they haven't executed, right? That's what your coaching program is for. It's for execution. It's for accountability. It's for being a coach, right? Helping someone go from where they're at to where they want to go. That's what the program is. The program is not informational. Information is free on the internet, everywhere. ChatGPT, Claude, information is everywhere. That is not our role as coaches. Our role as coaches is helping the client execute. Some may call this accountability, right? And so that's what we want to be setting forth in the roadmap. And if they decide not to continue, they're going to leave feeling really, really good because at least they have a plan. Guess what? We're going to follow up in a couple of weeks to see if they're executing that plan, right? And if they're not executing, that's a great invitation into the main coaching program, right? So this gives you what we call a peak result moment, right? They've likely achieved a result at this point, and we want to celebrate that. And then we want to set the roadmap for the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever makes sense with your program. Okay. So this is a built-in checkpoint. This is part of, this is not just like random. This is part of your program, and it's established right from the beginning that in week 3, we're going to do this one-on-one review roadmap session with every client to move them into our main program. Okay. And so, the client knows from the beginning that this is what it's going to be. Okay. So the timing of this is really kind of only half of it. The other half is like, what do you actually say, right, in that moment? Okay. What do you tell the client, right? And language here is really important to, again, solidify this trust that you've built and that you're going to continue over the next phase of your program. So let's move into that. So how do you frame the next program so that, oh, I'll get a little hamstring cramp. All right, we're good. How do you frame the next part of your program? How do you really frame your main program so that it doesn't feel like a pitch? And there's a couple ways to do it. And I alluded to it a little bit in the previous section. But number one, if we set this thing up right from the beginning, right? Remember, we think about this as a bridge, and I covered this in more detail in previous episodes. So if this is foreign to you, go back and listen to those because it'll help all of this make sense. But we should think about our bridge program as like phase 1 of a bigger program, right? We pull up one thing the client is actively searching for a solution to, like a problem they're looking for a solution to. Excuse me. And that becomes the bridge program. Okay. It's solving like a mini problem, a problem they're aware of and they're actively searching to solve, right? That's what our bridge program is. 21 days, 28 days. It's not the full program, right? It's step 1, right, of a bigger program. So we call that phase 1, right? And we give it cool names. There's language around it, right? But it is phase 1 because when we say phase 1, it's just inferred, right, that there's going to be more phases to the program. And so it makes it easier to transition to phase 2 if someone's seeing success with phase 1, because phase 1, yes, hey, we've had some great success here, but that's going to open up a new can of worms, right? Other problems that need to be solved. And that comes in later stages. That comes in later phases as we're helping this person ultimately create, or not necessarily create, ultimately learn the skills they need to learn in order to be successful with this for life. They solve the problem once and for all, and they don't need to continually come back to solve it over and over and over and over again. Okay. And so the first step here is we frame it as phase 1, right? So the client just assumes there's a phase 2. Right. So that when at the beginning, when I talked about this disconnect, right, I run a 7-day detox and my main program is helping dudes put on slabs of muscle, right? There's no connection there, right? It's not an actual bridge. So if we think about this program as a bridge, or we're taking a client and we're moving them into our main program, and that bridge is where we build trust, right? And they get to know us as a coach, and we basically get to evaluate each other and make sure that we're going to be a good fit for this, right? So I'm going to give you a really just easy kind of quick example of like bad ask versus good ask. And like this is going to make sense once I say it, right? So a bad ask could be something like, "Hey, are you interested in joining the main program?" Right? One, we've made them different, right? Our main program is different than our bridge program, right? But are you interested in joining our main program? Not a great ask. Let's improve that a little bit. All right. First, we do a little bit of review. Hey, it looks like looking at reviewing everything, you've made incredible progress over the last 3 weeks. These numbers have changed. These numbers have changed. You know, your energy scores at the beginning were averaging like 4s and 5s, and now they're averaging 6s and 7s. You must be feeling a lot better. Is that the case? Oh yeah. And and we have a conversation, right? And so as we kind of talked about from the beginning, this is phase one of our program, and the problem we're really solving is this, right? And once we solve that problem, once we solve that problem, then we move into the next problem, which is going to ultimately help you achieve the result that they're looking to accomplish, right? These are all building blocks for this to be the last program they ever need to go on to solve the problem that they're going for, instead of getting off of this roller coaster, right? And so most clients at this stage, right, if they've done well here, they move into phase two, right? And over the next 60 days, here is what we're going to focus on, and here's what we're going to accomplish, right? Do you want me to set you up on the next phase of the program? Right? We talk about it as a continuation, right? We don't talk about it as like an upgrade or the next program. It is a continuation. And so if we use consistent language around this is our reset phase, and then we're going to move into our rebuild phase. And so those are actually terms that we use inside of our Project Orange. Phase one is our reset, which is kind of whole foods. And then phase two is rebuild. So now that we've kind of gotten this stuff under control, now we're going to start to build back up, right? And we focus on protein, and we focus on movement and strength training and whatever those pieces may be, right? But we're just talking about a continuation into the next phase. And do you want me to get you set up on the next phase? Right? We're not talking about an upgrade. We're not talking about the next program, anything like that. It is a continuation, right? And so that's how we want to think about it. And if we frame it with this kind of phases thing from the beginning, it's going to be smooth. It's going to be seamless, and it's going to work. So um, those are the big things. I'm just going to review a few things here, and then we'll talk about the system. So most coaches fail because there's no connection between their bridge program and their main program. Okay. Detox to putting on slabs of muscle just doesn't make sense, right? Number two, they're not making the ask. So that's an easy one. We just start making the ask. Number three is the ask just isn't very good, right? It's just a really vague ask, and it's usually coming in the last days of the program. Not good timing. So to fix that, we go, hey, week 3 or the second to last week of the program, we're setting up one-to-one calls with every single person that's in my bridge program. Okay. And in that one-to-one call, we're going to review their progress so far. So we should have some data points that we're collecting, right? Maybe it's body composition, maybe it's objective measurements, something like that. We're going to review that. We are going to highlight the progress the client has made. We're going to celebrate that. And then we're going to build the roadmap for the next 4 weeks or whatever the next phase is. We're building the roadmap out. Hey, we've done a really good job on resetting your metabolism at this point. You've gotten into eating whole foods. You can see by your numbers, body composition is down. You've dropped 2% body fat or whatever that may be. In the next phase, we are going to move into now building things back up. Right? We've reset your metabolism. Now we want to start building. And how we do that is we're going to be focusing on protein intake. We're going to be focusing on strength training 3 times a week or whatever those pieces may be. Right? And based upon everything that you've told me, here's how I think we would set up your next phase. Does that seem like something that you could accomplish, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it, right? The dopamine is still there. We've just reviewed the results. They're feeling really good, right? And so, like, are you ready to continue into the next phase of this program? Yes, absolutely. Let's rock and roll, right? And so if we set the things up like that, it becomes a conversion machine, right? Because you're just ultimately helping the person take the next step. So we can take someone that doesn't really know us a whole lot. They understand that we solve problems and they have that problem. So they think we might be able to do it. We bring them into our bridge. We provide an incredible experience. You're using Coach Catalyst. So you're seeing every day their daily check-ins. You're seeing their weekly check-ins, their review forms, all of that information. You're collecting all of this information, and then you are using it to help the client move forward, right? And you have visibility through the entire process. And then we're scheduling that week 3. Right away, we're scheduling that, right? So that is on the calendar and we're meeting with those clients. And if you're meeting with clients, number one, if they're getting results, right? Number one is get the client results. So if they're getting results and you meet with them, you will convert them into the main program as long as we've priced everything accordingly, right? We're not pricing something for $5 and selling a $500 program, right? We've priced things accordingly. We're bringing the right people in. And I guarantee those conversations are going to lead into more clients. Okay. Just fix those few things. Make sure the bridge offer makes sense for your main offer. Make sure we're actually making an offer, right? And that offer comes through really value adds that we do in that second to last week, right? And just make sure we're having human conversations at the end of the day. Do not try to do this over email. Do not try to do this over an email sequence. Do not even try to do this over a message that you schedule, right? Like if you're selling an offer, if your main offer is substantial, if it's 250, 300, 400, $500, it's worth you taking 20 to 30 minutes, right, to convert that client into your main offer. It just needs to be part of the system. Coaching is a human experience. And by you putting the human in it and talking to them, understanding them, and inviting them into not even necessarily inviting, showing them the path, the roadmap, and asking if they want to continue, right? You're going to convert way, 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 way more people. And then let's just think about the math here a little bit too, kind of from a business standpoint. So let's say you're selling, we'll even be conservative, a $300 a month program, and your bridge offer is $100, right? A lot of that makes sense for, let's say, 21 days, right? And then your main program is, let's say, 12 weeks long. So $900 main program, right? You just added another $100 onto that, right? Because we had our bridge for $100 and then we had 3 months at $300, right? So you've essentially increased the lifetime value of your client by 10%, right? Maybe a little bit more than that by having this bridge offer. So we don't always have to put people into the bridge offer. Sometimes we can move people right into our main program. But we need that bridge offer for the people that aren't ready to just jump into our main program. We need to build that trust with them right away, right? And then we can talk about some other economics where the back end and some continuation stuff after the main one. But that is not a topic for today. Today is all about this bridge offer. The month of April was all about this bridge offer. So if you missed any pieces here, go back. Each episode in this series builds on the previous one. And when you get through all of these, you should have a really, really, really strong understanding on how you build this thing out and make it convert. And so next step is audit your things, audit your things, audit your things, audit your offers. And then next week, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk some main offer stuff. And we're probably going to do that for the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk some main offer stuff. I'll give you some ideas there on structure, on pricing, and even talk about this kind of like back end offers after it to make sure that we're building a business that works. So over the month of April, we talked about the frame of our front end offer and really thinking about it as a bridge. We talked about how to build it. We talked about how to price it. We talked about how to fill it. And now today we talked about how to monetize it by moving people into our main offer. So that's it for front end offers. Next week, we're coming back with our signature programs, with our main offer, the core of our business. And I've got some really good ideas for you there. So thanks again for listening. My name is Trevor. I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst, and I'm here every Tuesday, 12-ish, a couple minutes late sometimes, like today, technical issues. But I'm here at noon helping you out as a coach because we need more coaches in the world. And we need you to be successful. And if you don't build a great business, you're not going to be in this business for very long. So I need you here for the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. So until next week, we'll see you later.